Hello, hello, my love. Welcome back to another episode of the Money, Mindset, and Manicures podcast. Let's talk about self-sabotage. And I'm going to sit here and tell you today why self-sabotage is a good sign, especially when it comes to your manifesting journey. Whether you are on your changing your life journey, or maybe you're in a place right now where you're setting big goals for yourself and you're going after them and you're achieving, and you are on this trajectory of like getting a lot of things done and accomplished, and you're feeling really good. And then all of a sudden you experience self-sabotage. And you may think, and this is what I would always feel about myself whenever I'm self-sabotaging, is I start talking negatively to myself, right? Like, oh, you're just so lazy, or maybe you're just not disciplined, or you're just not smart enough. And oh my gosh, you're dropping the ball. Like you're not on it. You know, all these negative thoughts and emotions start pouring in when you're experiencing self-sabotage. And I think the first key point here is when it is self-sabotage for you is to have that personal awareness. Now, for me, I've been experiencing self-sabotage more frequently than usual, especially over the last couple months. And I experienced it most recently last week when I had a very important pitch due for my company. Now, I've done a lot of pitches for the Manuscripting Journal, and I've submitted this company for a lot of different things, like, for example, like awards and like different things. Now, with this pitch specifically, I can't get into the details of what it was yet, but I can tell you that what it required me of was very easy. I had to create a video and I had to fill out some like written content. And both of those things, it wasn't something that I had to go learn or study. It was about my company. So it's like, I know everything about my company. And if you know me, or if you've been here a minute, or if you follow me on Instagram, or just even watching this podcast, I know how to create videos. I have all the tech, I have the equipment, I have the lighting, and I do very well on camera. And I know how to write as well. So all of the things that this pitch required me of was nothing new at all. But when I was sitting there trying to like do it, and every time I sat down or put in my calendar to do this pitch, which mind you, I had about 3 weeks to get this done. I knew the deadline way ahead of time. And every time I tried to sit down and work on it, I just like couldn't get myself to do it. Okay. And let me know if this resonates with you at all. But as the days went on and the deadline got closer and closer and closer, I started feeling even more resistance to completing it and just doing it. And it was something that would literally take me maybe 20 minutes to do. No joke. Like this wasn't some huge project that required a lot of time and effort and energy. It was really, really simple. And the night that this pitch was due, it was like due by midnight, and it was literally like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and all day long, I had to open on my computer with what to do, all of the things. And I just kept making excuses for myself. Like, oh, you know what? I need to go walk Milo, or, oh my gosh, I need to go clean my office or get on social media. I just like kept doing different things, even though this was like the most important thing that I had to get done. And it turned to be like 9 p.m. and I still hadn't even done it. And I'm just sitting there. I'm so at this point frustrated with myself. I'm like, oh my God, starting to talk negatively to myself. Like, oh my gosh, you had so much time to complete this. Like, why are you so lazy? Like, why aren't you disciplined enough to like just get it done? Like, this is going to be so great for your business. This is so important to you. This is something that you've wanted. And you are just so dumb for like literally all of these negative thoughts that I was like thinking and saying to myself started coming up, which started to make me feel even more frustrated. And I got myself to the point where I was just like, fuck it. I don't even care about this anyway. Like, I don't even need to do this, like whatever. And I caught myself in that moment of realizing, Sam, you're literally self-sabotaging yourself of this opportunity right now. Like, what the heck is up? And when I caught myself in that moment, which awareness in these situations is so super key, because if you don't realize that you're self-sabotaging, first of all, like you're not even going to have these conversations with yourself. You're just going to like, just not do them. But in that moment, I had this clarity around why I've been self-sabotaging myself, or waiting to that last moment and putting myself through this like awful period of like feelings and emotions of like, one, talking bad to myself and just like feeling like just like frustrated and angry at myself for not getting something done. So first, that awareness is key. But after having this realization, I was like, holy shit, like you are reaching your upper limit and you are actually so fucking terrified that if this, for example, this situation was a pitch, but I have so many other examples of this, but if this pitch actually got you to, whether it's to the next level or got you whatever the reward was for it, or winning or whatever, right? You are so fucking terrified that you are going to now elevate in your business. Like this would be really good for the manuscripting journal. This would be really great for me as a founder. For example, with a pitch, you're obviously winning something, right? So it's like, it would be so incredible for the company and for myself that I was literally self-sabotaging myself because I know that this thing could potentially take me to the next level. And when you start thinking about things in that way, you're just like, oh my gosh, duh, right? And I know that when we talk about self-sabotaging, it's always from a negative place. Like, oh, you should never self-sabotage. And when you do, it is like such a bad thing. But it's like, let's rewind that conversation a little bit of why we even reach that point of self-sabotage in the first place. It's that fear of success or fear of failure, right? For me, in that moment of doing the pitch and just submitting it, which again, would literally take me 20 minutes. It doesn't take any more effort of my time really to do it, right? And here I was literally experiencing, oh my gosh, like subconsciously, even though I wasn't having the conversation in my like waking mind, like I wasn't sitting there telling myself, oh my gosh, if you win this, like this is going to elevate your company. I wasn't having those thoughts at all. But subconsciously I was, even though I didn't realize it, that I had this fear of success that if you submit it, it's going to take you to the next level, which will then probably require more of you, more of your company. The expectations would be higher, all of these different things, right? So I want you to think about in your life where you are experiencing self-sabotage and why I'm saying it's a good thing when you start experiencing it, because that means you are hitting this upper limit. That's what I like to refer it to. Like if you're experiencing it, it means you're either afraid of success or you're afraid of failure. Now, for me, whenever I put my effort to do something, it is really rare that I have the thought of fear of failure. And I think that just comes from me having such a big ego over my entire life. Like whenever I go into something, I'm always thinking I'm going to win, right? So for me, it has never been like, oh, if I do something, I'm going to fail. It's more like, oh, I'm going to do something and shit, this is going to like take me higher and it's going to require a new version of me, which is very, very scary because once you kind of put yourself out there with whatever it is that you're doing, right? Like you are having to step it up. You are going to have to grow and evolve. Like just think about it. You take a new job or you get a job promotion, right? Like all of a sudden, like you are very comfortable in where you were at in your job. Maybe you hated it. Maybe you weren't getting paid enough. Maybe the duties that you had, like you were just like, this is so boring. And the thought of a promotion is really great. But then once you get it, it's like, oh my God, well now I'm going to have a new boss. And oh my gosh, I'm going to have all these new coworkers. And oh my gosh, people are going to expect more of me. And oh my gosh, I actually have never done this specific role before. Like, am I going to be good at it? You know, all of those thoughts and emotions and feelings like start pouring in. So that's why, in turn, what's safer to do? Stay in our comfort zone, right? So what's the easiest way to do that? Without even realizing you're doing it, it is to self-sabotage. So my whole point here is that self-sabotaging, when you are experiencing it and when you are actually aware of it, pay attention to it. Because that just means you are actually in this like subconsciously fearful state that, oh my gosh, I'm going to either have to rise and evolve and grow, or maybe you're on the side where you have that fear of failure and maybe that comes from other people, opinions or other people seeing you fail or you seeing your fail or having this pressure to succeed, right? So this is why self-sabotage is a good thing. It's such a great sign because it means that you are being called to rise to the next version of yourself. And the ways that I've kind of pushed through the self-sabotage is to just push through. Now, in that moment, when I was working on that pitch last week, like at this point, in my eyes, it was due at midnight. There was no time frame on that date that it was due. But for me, it's like, it's due on this date. And for me, okay, that's midnight. So for me, I spent all day just having everything up on my computer, right? And even for days prior to that, I had everything set, like opened up, ready to go. I just had to fill it out, shoot the video, all of that. And it was finally around like 8:30, 9 p.m. at night, still hadn't done it. I'm at this point so frustrated with myself. I took a minute, I got some food, I ate. And even in that moment when I was like eating, I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's no way I'm going to go get this done. No way. I'm going to eat and I'm going to get tired. I'm going to just whatever. But then I just like literally snapped myself out of it. I snapped myself out of it. I literally just told myself, Sam, get your fucking shit together. You have to do this. One, you made a commitment to the person that you are going to submit this. And two, you just have to fucking get it done. Because if you don't, you are going to regret it so badly. And you've already told other people, or other people just kind of know about this, that it has to get done. Now, for me, fortunately, luckily enough, I have my amazing fiance, Mark, who knew about this entire situation. And he was on my ass even. So it was, for me, kind of helpful that he was there. Even if he wasn't there, I knew ultimately I would have got it done. But I would have rather have gotten this entire thing done without this emotional roller coaster that I put myself on. Like, I got myself to such an angry state because I was angry with myself. I was angry with myself that I allowed myself to get there, right? But luckily I had him. And he's like, you better fucking do this. He's like, you need to submit it. He's like, I'm going to help you, or I'm just going to be in the room for like emotional support. Like, let's do all these questions together. Like, read them out. Let's write them out. Let's just get this done. And that's exactly what we did. And no joke, it was like 11:59 p.m. when I submitted the files for this pitch. And they did get through, which is amazing. I got confirmation that it was submitted and all of that was on time. But at the end of the day, reflecting back on it, I was like, whoa, like I am doing this to myself. And I even vocalized it to Mark. I'm like, you know what just happened here? He's like, yeah. He's like, you were self-sabotaging and you've done this before and I've seen you do it. And I asked him, I was like, you know what? You need to hold me a little bit accountable in the future. If you see me doing this to myself, you need to call me out on it. Because for me, even though I hate when people call me out on my shit, like truly, I'm a Taurus. I'm very Taurus. And I'm a manifestor in human design. Like, I hate being told what to do. I hate being called out on my shit. But at the same time, if things in my life ever get to that point, I know that it is serious and I need to, turn my shit around and get it together. So I had that conversation with him. It's like, look, I know I've been doing this a lot lately, like getting myself to this point where it's not where I self-sabotage to the point of not doing something. Because for me, when I commit to something, I do see it through, even if it's at the last minute, but I do see it through. But it would be so much better, easier, more joyful if I didn't have to go through that emotional roller coaster. Okay, babe, I know you're listening to this podcast because I know that you have a desire to change your life and accomplish big goals, right? But I also know that something has been holding you back on going after those big goals. Or maybe it's that you self-sabotage, or maybe you've set these big goals and you get really overwhelmed and you just don't go after them altogether. Well, I want to introduce you to a journal that is literally going to help you change your life and help you actually manifest and accomplish any desires or goals that you have. It's called the Marriage Scripting Journal, and it's the #1 selling manifestation and goal setting journal designed exclusively for empowering women just like you to up-level and change your life. Now, if you haven't seen this journal on social media already, I want to share with you that it is literally your personal guide to manifesting your dreams and unlocking your true potential. And inside its beautifully curated pages, you'll discover powerful daily journaling pages, workbooks, and exercises to help you set goals, help you plan your dreams, and manifest the life that you deserve. Plus, the one thing that I had to include, and it was a non-negotiable with this journal, is that it needed to have a community. So you'll also have access to join an online community filled with thousands of women just like you who are on the same path using the journal. So I invite you to join me and these thousands of women who have already embraced the power of manifestation and changed their life using the Marriage Scripting Journal. And I also want to gift you with a special 15% off code on your first journal order by using the code Money Mindset. The code is Money Mindset. So head over to manuscripting.com today and embark on a transformative journey by ordering the journal. So go ahead, check out the show notes, empower yourself. Answer the call to getting this journal. If this is speaking to you, I want you to join us. It's time to script your dreams into reality with the Manuscripting Journal because you deserve to create and manifest a life that you're completely obsessed with. See show notes for details. I want to know for you, where right now in your life are you self-sabotaging yourself? Can you think of a moment recently, especially if you are on your manifesting journey, where maybe you are supposed to go do something and then all of a sudden you start creating this story of like, you know what, I don't have to do this today. I'm going to do it next week. Or maybe it's a one-time opportunity. Like for me, it was this pitch. Like I know I will probably never have that opportunity again. And this was my one shot to do it. So for me, I was in a situation like, this isn't something I could put off. This isn't something I could do later. But where have you done this in your life, especially when you're on this journey of manifesting, of changing your life and making your dreams come true? Because a lot of times what I see myself, like life experiences included, it's like I see where I've done it to myself, and I see, especially inside my community, where women are doing it to themselves when they're on this journey of changing their life. And then you see this bigger picture of like, oh, well, no wonder month after month, year after year, you are still sitting there, whether it's hating your life, hating your job, hating your relationships, hating your financial situation, hating your health situation, because you are consistently self-sabotaging yourself to stay comfortable. Because on the other side of, what's the opposite of self-sabotage? I don't even know the actual, like, what is the word? Like getting it done? I don't know, like actually seeing things through. But on the other side of self-sabotage, right? It calls us up to become this new, elevated, upgraded version of ourselves. And that's a person that we haven't met yet, right? We don't know what that looks like yet until we step into it. But at the end of the day, we can't manifest our goals and desires. We cannot change our life being the same person, being and doing the same things every single day, right? Because what we've done up until today has made us who we are today. So if we don't like who we are today, we have to make changes in order to upgrade, in order to up level and step into this new version of ourselves for tomorrow. And now maybe even just like have this new awareness around your life with where are you self-sabotaging yourself? Or if you're like me, you can have that awareness and catch yourself in the moment where you're like, fuck, like I am literally I'm self-sabotaging myself right now. This is something that I really want. This is maybe a one-time opportunity. This is something that I know is going to elevate me. And you just have to snap yourself out of it and just do it. And for me, it's like, I knew that even if Mark wasn't there, I probably would have gotten it done. But if you need some sort of accountability, if you need someone, and maybe you do have someone that you live with or a friend that you can call or a mentor or something, you have to also vocalize or talk it out with someone. I find that to be so, so helpful when you're in a situation. It's calling yourself out. Like for me, it's like I had these conversations with myself. And even towards the end when I was eating a meal, when like Mark was sitting right there and like he's going through my wave of emotions with me at that point, and vocalize it and be like, you know what? I'm fucking self-sabotaging myself and I'm in this state right now and I just need help and support and I need to fucking get myself out of it. I feel like that is truly the answer, and getting that support in that moment or in that time period that you have from somebody else that maybe knows your situation or that you know and trust can pull you out of it, pull that greatness out of you. Like for me, I had been like, even throughout that meal, I had been like crying and my makeup looked like shit at that point and my hair was meh and then my energy was so shitty. And I just like went in the bathroom. I fixed myself up a little bit because this was now doing the video part of the pitch, right? And I just like literally, I don't even know how I got myself from this state of feeling and looking and just feeling just like shitty to just like, it was literally like a snap of a finger. Like we turned the lights on, turned the cameras on, and I just fucking turned it on. And I filmed, like I watched the pitch again the other night and I just turned it on, and watching the video, you would never know that I had this freaking ridiculous meltdown that whole entire evening right before filming. So I hope this podcast just kind of gives you that aha moment, that kind of like, oh, that awareness around self-sabotaging. And if you are experiencing it, why it is a good thing, and just lean into it. Because I promise you, there is nothing worse. And I know you've probably experienced it more than once in your life, right? That feeling of regret of not doing something, or that feeling of knowing that you should have done something and then beating yourself up later. Like I know if I was sitting here right now and telling you guys like I never submitted the pitch because of self-sabotage, oh my gosh, I don't even know the words to describe how I would feel. But I know it would most likely cause this ripple effect throughout even this week and the next of me feeling really shitty about myself, right? Like me just regretting, me just wondering, oh, it's the ifs, the whole like, oh, but I could have won, or, oh, I could have at least tried, those are feelings and emotions suck. And when you start giving up in yourself, especially when it comes to self-sabotage, right? When you put something off or you don't do it, well, that starts training your brain too, to then keep on doing that in all other aspects of your life, right? So instead of just sitting and self-sabotaging yourself, be in that moment of awareness of like, okay, this is fucking happening and it sucks. Snap yourself out of it and just do it. Just get it done. And I promise you, there's nothing better than, and even if you don't get that thing that you wanted, maybe it was applying for a job, or, putting stuff out on social media, or what have you, whatever that thing is for you that's so important to you, there's no better feeling than actually doing it. And even if you quote unquote fail, right? And I don't even believe in failure because I think it's all life lessons, but even if you didn't get the thing, you are training your mind to go after those things. So then when the next hard thing comes up that you have to complete and on your journey to, whether it's manifesting your goals and desires or changing your life or doing these different things because you want to better your life, right? It's going to get easier for you because you know the feeling. And fun fact for you, like I said, I'm sitting here experiencing a lot of self-sabotage because I know on the other side of it is growing and expanding my company and myself as a founder. And if I just continue showing up and doing the same thing every single day, well, guess what? My business is going to stay the same. I'm going to stay the same. Nothing is going to change, right? So it's all about stepping out of that comfort zone because that's what it is. We got to raise this thermostat, right? Of like what our next level is and just go after it. And a really great book that I want to recommend to you that talks about this is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. He talks a lot, like that whole book is basically all about the upper limit and how we set for ourselves this upper limit inside our brain. It's not by society. It's not by like what you're taught or what you're told to do or be, but it's all about us. Our upper limit of our happiness, our joy, what we experience, we set that thermostat. So whenever something comes along our way, and it is above and beyond that, that's when we start being like self-sabotaging and we don't want to go do those things, or we don't want to get out of our comfort zone because even if it's a good thing, right? Even if this is such a good thing, because that's whenever we're working towards our goals, right? We're wanting to be better. We want our lives to be better. We want our financial situations to be better. We want our health to be better. Our relationships, we want everything to just get better and better and better. When we have this upper limit set in our brains, right, which we set ourselves, and if something feels like it's too good or it's going to be too great, we self-sabotage to pull ourselves back into the comfort of where we are used to being. So read that book. It's The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. We highly recommend it inside the Marriage Scripting Journal community. It's actually, we have a book list inside the Marriage Scripting Journal, and that is one of the books on that list because it is such an important book. It just like kind of gives you this aha moment of how we tend to keep ourselves small and comfortable. But at the same time, if you're small and comfortable and unhappy with where you are in your life, right? Like that's not good. So we want to rise and get out of that. But the only way to do that is start doing those hard things. And a lot of ways that we tend to not go for our goals or not go do the things that we need to in order to get those goals and desires to manifest is we self-sabotage. Let me know if this episode resonates with you. I want to know one thing that you have self-sabotaged yourself on and most recently. And if you have this experience of self-sabotaging in the near future, like please send me a DM. Like I want to hear your stories as well, because as you're on this growth journey, I promise you, if you haven't experienced it yet, you probably will. And I mean, I almost want to say, I promise you, you're going to experience it at some point. Because it is putting yourself out of that comfort zone. It is putting yourself in the what ifs or, oh my gosh, like I mentioned, it could be a way where you're self-sabotaging because you're going to have to up level and you're going to have to grow. And maybe there will be more expectations of you and more responsibilities and all of that. But if you're listening to this podcast, like that's what you're here to do, right? Like you want to change your life. You want better things for you, your family, your community, right? So it's something that I believe as humans, we're never going to avoid. It's unavoidable because we care and we're excited and it's scary and it's all of those emotions wrapped up in one. Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope it resonated with you and I hope it gave you some more clarity on why awareness around self-sabotaging is a good sign. Because maybe, just maybe, on the other side of you not self-sabotaging and you actually going to do that thing, it means that your manifestation is just right around the corner. And how beautiful is that? So just think of it in that way. Like if you feel that moment of self-sabotage coming on, just think, fuck, maybe this is the one thing that I need to do in order to call in this manifestation to happen. So don't be afraid of it. I know it's tough, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, it's scary, it's the unknown, but this is life, right? Like we don't know what lies ahead in the future, but the only way we can somewhat predict is when we come in, co-create with the universe and take action. So go take action on that self-sabotage. Don't let it happen to you. Don't let it get you down. Don't let it stop you from living your best life. Because on the other side of it, I know it is such beautiful greatness. Maybe it's a learning lesson. Maybe it's an experience that you needed to have in order to manifest that next thing. So you don't want to ignore it. You don't want to let these moments of self-sabotage keep bringing you down, because that could be just the one thing that's keeping you stuck where you are. So I thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please leave a review if you haven't already. If you found this episode inspiring, it really helps get these episodes out to those that need to hear it. And I know that there's so many people that deal and suffer from self-sabotage a lot, and that's exactly what's keeping them small. So let's get this episode out to more and more listeners so they can learn how to manifest their dream lives and be the most abundant humans that we can be. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Love you.